Hello. This is a very quick revision video on the chapter Dual Nature of Radiation and Matter. In this video, I will be covering all the expected questions from dual nature of radiation and matter. And I hope this video will help you in this tough time of pandemic. You can very quickly revise all the concepts by just going through this video, and then you can go through your notes and concentrate more on those topics which are taught in this video. So we'll begin with the concept of electron emission. See, without going into much basics of this chapter, we'll try to concentrate on what are the important aspects that can be expected from this chapter. See, as far as dual nature of radiation and matter is concerned, you may be asked to write about what is electron emission. Electron emission antandre enu kelbodu. Electron emission antandre it is a process of ejecting electrons from metal surface by supplying suitable amount of energy to it. So the process of ejecting electrons from a metal surface, by supplying suitable amount of energy to it. So whenever you supply some suitable amount of energy to a metal surface, the electrons in the metal surface will get ejected out, and this process is called as electron emission. And we know there are basically three types of electron emission. There may be question on types of electron emission as well. The types of electron emission are thermionic emission, field emission, and photoelectric emission. First type of electron emission is thermionic emission. Field emission, and photoelectric emission. There is another type of electron emission called as secondary emission as well. You may be asked to write what is meant by thermionic emission, what is meant by field emission, what is meant by photoelectric emission. So thermionic emission is process of ejecting electrons from metal surface by supplying suitable amount of heat energy to it. The process of ejecting electrons from metal surface by supplying suitable amount of heat energy to it is called as thermionic emission. Process of ejecting electrons from a metal surface by supplying suitable amount of heat energy to it. Whenever you supply suitable amount of heat energy to a metal surface, the electrons in the metal surface absorb that heat energy and they get ejected out of the metal surface. The process of ejecting electrons from a metal surface by supplying suitable amount of heat energy to it is called as thermionic emission. Similarly, you can define what is field emission. Field emission is the process of ejecting electrons from a metal surface by applying suitable high electric field. The process of ejecting electrons from a metal surface by applying. See, when it comes to field emission, you need to write by applying. You can apply suitable high electric fields to a metal surface. The process of ejecting electrons from a metal surface by applying suitable high electric field. Suitable high electric field is called as field emission. It's called field emission, right? High electric field should be of the order of 10 to the power of 8 volt per meter. This should be the high value of electric field that must be applied in order to eject electrons from a metal surface. This is called as field emission. Also, you may be asked to define what is meant by photoelectric emission. See, when it comes to photoelectric emission, photo means light, electric represents electron, photoelectric emission represents ejection of electrons from a metal surface by allowing light of suitable frequency to fall on it. Whenever you allow light of suitable frequency to fall on the metal surface, electrons get ejected out. See, when you are defining photoelectric emission, you should not define it with respect to energy of light. Instead, you need to define it with respect to frequency of light, because energy or frequency is the characteristic that decides energy of the light. So, when you are defining photoelectric emission, you need to specify frequency instead of energy, because energy of light is characterized by its frequency. Photoelectric emission, the process of ejecting electrons from metal surface, the process of ejecting electrons from a metal surface by allowing light of suitable frequency, to fall on the metal surface. Whenever you allow light of suitable frequency to fall on the metal surface, the electrons get ejected out of it. This phenomenon, in which are this process in which electrons are ejected out of metal surface by allowing light of suitable frequency, not energy, right? So by allowing light of suitable frequency to fall on the metal surface is called as photoelectric emission. So go through what is electron emission, what are the different types of electron emission, try to learn the definitions of different types of electron emission. Then you will be asked to define certain definitions such as work function. This is an important definition which may be expected in 1 mark. See, what is work function means? Work function represents the minimum amount of energy required to eject an electron from a metal surface. Suppose if this is a metal surface and if this is a free electron in the metal surface, the electrons are free to move only throughout the volume of this metal surface or throughout the surface of this metal, but they are not free to come out of the metal surface. If the electron tries to come out, the metal surface acquires positive charge and pulls the electron back onto the metal surface. In order to eject the electron completely out of the metal surface, we need to supply minimum amount of energy, to this electron. So the minimum amount of energy required, this is important, minimum amount of energy required to eject an electron from the metal surface, is called work function. Is called work function. So work function is defined as the minimum amount of energy required to eject an electron from the metal surface. One electron metal surface ಇಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ minimum ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. That is called as the work function. Work function is generally represented by W. Phi naught ಇಂದ ಕೂಡ represent ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Work function is W is equals to H into nu naught. Or this can also be written as hc by lambda naught. This is the expression for work function. Work function is W is equals to H into nu naught or H into C by lambda naught, where H represents Planck's constant. H is Planck's constant. Nu naught is threshold frequency. Nu naught represents threshold frequency. At this point of time, you will be familiar with all this terminology. And lambda naught represents threshold wavelength. So this is the expression for work function. After work function, you have to go through the definition of threshold frequency. Threshold frequency. See what is meant by threshold frequency antandre, it is the minimum frequency of incident light below which photoelectric emission does not take place. So the minimum frequency of incident light, minimum frequency of incident light below which photoelectric emission does not take place. Photoelectric emission does not take place. This means there exists certain minimum frequency of incident light for a given metal surface below which photoelectric emission does not take place. For a given metal surface, photoelectric emission to take place, we should allow light of certain minimum frequency to fall on it. Our frequency ಗಿಂತ light frequency ಏನಾದರೂ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಇಂದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. That minimum frequency of incident light below which photoelectric emission does not take place is called as threshold frequency, and as we know, threshold frequency is represented by mu naught. Also, you may be asked to define threshold wavelength. Threshold wavelength. See, threshold wavelength is the maximum wavelength of incident light. Threshold wavelength is the maximum wavelength of incident light. The maximum wavelength of incident light above which photoelectric emission does not take place. Above which photoelectric emission does not take place. Right? There exists a particular maximum wavelength of incident light. Above this wavelength, photoelectric emission does not take place. Up to this wavelength, photoelectric emission will take place. Above this wavelength, photoelectric emission does not take place. So the maximum wavelength of incident light above which photoelectric emission does not take place is called as threshold wavelength. Right? So go through the concept of threshold frequency and threshold wavelength. Then you may be asked to define electron volt. Define electron volt. See, electron volt is the practical unit of energy. The energy of subatomic particles like proton, electron, etc. are measured in units of electron volt. Electron volt is defined as the energy acquired by an electron. Energy acquired by an electron when it is accelerated through a potential difference of when it is accelerated through a potential difference of 1 volt. Whenever an electron is accelerated through a potential difference of 1 volt, it acquires definite amount of energy. That energy acquired by an electron when it is accelerated through a potential difference of 1 volt is called as electron volt. Suppose here we have a positively charged plate and here we have a negatively charged plate, and let us suppose the potential difference between these two plates is 1 volt. And suppose here is an electron. We know electron is negatively charged. This negatively charged plate should repel this negatively charged electron. At the same time, positively charged plate should attract this electron. So the electron will now experience an electric force in this direction. As a result of this electric force, electron starts accelerating. Electron gains some acceleration in this electric field, right? So when it gains acceleration, it will also gain kinetic energy. The amount of this kinetic energy acquired by an electron when it is accelerated through a potential difference of 1 volt is called as electron volt. ಯಾವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ನ 1 volt potential difference ನ accelerate ಮಾಡ್ತೀವೋ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ ಕೈನೆಟಿಕ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಕೈನೆಟಿಕ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿನ ನಾವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ವೋಲ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules. This means whenever you accelerate an electron through a potential difference of 1 volt, it will acquire a kinetic energy equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joules. ಯಾವಾಗ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ನ 1 volt potential difference ನ accelerate ಮಾಡ್ತೀರೋ ಆವಾಗ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಗೆ 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules ಅಷ್ಟು kinetic energy ಬರ್ತದೆ. This is how we need to define electron volt. Electron volt is the energy acquired by an electron when it is accelerated through a potential difference of 1 volt. Right? So this is the definition of electron volt. After all understanding what is electron volt, you may be asked to write the laws of photoelectric effect. Laws of photoelectric effect. See, laws of photoelectric effect are also called as the observations of photoelectric effect. Laws of photoelectric effect or observations of photoelectric effect. Both mean the same. Question hagaadru barbodu, laws of photoelectric effect bariri antadru kelbodu, observations of photoelectric effect bariri antadru kelbodu. In both the cases you have to write the same answer. See, there are about 5 laws of photoelectric effect. The first law or the first observation of photoelectric effect is that the photoelectric emission is an instantaneous process. Photoelectric emission is an instantaneous process. This means as soon as light is incident on the metal surface, electron gets ejected out. There is no time lag between incidence of light and the ejection of electron. Andre light biddu ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಧ ಗಂಟೆನೋ 1 hour ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ electron eject ಆಗಲ್ಲ. As soon as light is incident on the metal surface, electron gets ejected out. That is why we say photoelectric emission is an instantaneous process. Photoelectric emission is an instantaneous process. This means that as soon as light is incident on the metal surface, electron gets ejected out of it. This is the first law, first observation of photoelectric. Why photoelectric emission is instantaneous process, that we'll discuss in Einstein's explanation of photoelectric effect. The second law of photoelectric emission or photoelectric effect states, below certain minimum frequency of incident light, below certain minimum frequency of incident light, below certain minimum frequency of incident light, photoelectric emission does not take place. Photoelectric emission does not take place. See, these are all the observations. When different people like Hertz, Leonard, Halbach conducted the observations on photoelectric effect, they concluded that there exists a minimum frequency of incident light below which photoelectric emission does not take place. This minimum frequency of incident light below which photoelectric emission does not take place is called as threshold frequency. So that is the second observation. Below certain minimum frequency of incident light, photoelectric emission does not take place. Photoelectric emission does not take place. This minimum frequency of incident light, this minimum frequency of incident light is called as, this minimum frequency of incident light is called as threshold frequency. This minimum frequency of incident light is called as threshold frequency. Remember, you must write about this threshold frequency. New second observation ಅಥವಾ second law ಬರಿಬೇಕಾದಾಗ threshold frequency ಅನ್ನೋ term compulsory ಬರಿಲೇಬೇಕು. The first law, first observation of photoelectric effect is that photoelectric emission or photoelectric effect is an instantaneous process. Below certain minimum frequency of incident light, photoelectric emission does not take place. This minimum frequency of incident light is called as threshold frequency. Then the third and fourth laws must be started by stating above threshold frequency. Andre third ಮತ್ತೆ fourth observations ಏನವಲ್ಲ, ಇವೆರಡು photoelectric emission ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. photoelectric emission ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತವೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, photoelectric emission ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. photoelectric emission take place below threshold frequency or above threshold frequency ಅಂದ್ರೆ photoelectric emission take place above threshold frequency. So start third and fourth laws by stating above threshold frequency, above threshold frequency, above threshold frequency. Photo current above threshold frequency, photo current is directly proportional to, photo current is directly proportional to intensity of incident light. Photo current is directly proportional to intensity of incident light. This means as the intensity of incident light is increased, it was observed that photo current also increases. Photo current is the current constituted by photoelectrons. Whenever light is allowed to fall on the metal surface, light of suitable frequency is allowed to fall on the metal surface, electrons get ejected out of the metal surface. We know that movement or flow of electrons constitute electric current. These electrons are called as photoelectrons. The current constituted by photoelectrons is called as photocurrent. ಈ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, it is observed that photocurrent is directly proportional to intensity of incident light. As you increase the intensity of incident light, the photocurrent goes on increasing, right? Intensity is nothing but the amount of energy incident on a given area per unit time, right? More is the amount of energy incident on given area per unit time, more is the intensity, and vice versa, right? So as the intensity of incident light is increased, photocurrent also increases. As the intensity of incident light is decreased, photocurrent also decreases. So we say above threshold frequency, photocurrent is directly proportional to intensity of incident light. This is the third observation of photoelectric effect. The fourth observation of photoelectric effect is that above threshold frequency, kinetic energy of photoelectrons. See, whenever light of suitable frequency is allowed to fall on metal surface, electron gets ejected out of it. When electrons are ejected out, they may start moving. When they are moving, they will have definite kinetic energy. On what factor does kinetic energy of the photoelectron depends? That is the fourth law. above threshold frequency, kinetic energy of photoelectrons is directly proportional to frequency of incident light. As the frequency of incident light on the metal surface is increased, the kinetic energy of the ejected electrons also increases. So we say kinetic energy of photoelectron is directly proportional to frequency of incident light. Kinetic energy of photoelectron is directly proportional to frequency of incident light. Photocurrent is directly proportional to intensity of incident light. If you have to increase the photocurrent, increase the intensity of incident light. If you have to increase the kinetic energy of the photoelectrons ejected out, increase the frequency of incident light. So this is the fourth law. The fifth law is about stopping potential. At a particular negative potential applied to anode, photocurrent becomes zero. At a particular negative potential applied to anode, photocurrent becomes zero. This particular negative potential is called as stopping potential. Write it completely, stopping potential. Even the next experimental study of photoelectric effect I explain ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. So these are the 5 observations of photoelectric effect. Photoelectric effect is an instantaneous process. Below certain minimum frequency of incident light, photoelectric emission does not take place. This minimum frequency of incident light is called as threshold frequency. Third and fourth laws must be started by stating above threshold frequency. And these two are the observations that are made during photoelectric emission. Above threshold frequency, photocurrent is directly proportional to the intensity of incident light. Above threshold frequency, kinetic energy of photoelectrons. You bare kinetic energy anta barkotirri, yavadu kinetic energy anta bariyade illa. Kinetic energy of photoelectrons is directly proportional to frequency of incident light. Yake hige aagtade anta Einstein's explanation na nodona. Above or at a particular negative potential applied to anode, photocurrent becomes zero. This particular negative potential is called as stopping potential. So these are the 5 observations or laws of photoelectric effect, and this is one of the most important 3-mark question. So go through it. Idamele you may be asked to describe experimental study of photoelectric effect. Experimental study of photoelectric effect. Experimental study of photoelectric effect. See, the experimental arrangement that is used to study photoelectric effect consists of an evacuated glass tube fitted with a side window. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಒಂದು side window ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ light ಒಳಗಡೆ entry ಆಗ್ತದೆ. So the experimental arrangement used to study photoelectric effect consists of an evacuated glass tube. This is represented as the evacuated glass tube means it is a glass tube from which even air is removed out. There is complete vacuum created in this glass tube. Inside this glass tube, 2 metal plates, one cathode and another anode, are fitted. This is cathode and this is anode. Cathode will emit the electrons and the anode will collect those electrons. It is because of this reason cathode is also called emitter and anode is also called as collector. The cathode and anode are connected to a high tension battery as shown in the figure. Cathode and anode are connected to a high tension battery. High tension battery is one which is generally used to maintain high potential difference between cathode and anode. So this is a high tension battery, right? This is a high tension battery. This is negative terminal of the battery and this is positive terminal of the battery. The cathode is maintained at negative potential and the anode is maintained at positive potential. In order to measure the potential difference between cathode and anode, we will connect a voltmeter across cathode and anode, and in order to measure the current that is constituted by the photoelectrons, we will here consider or we will here connect a microammeter. This is used to measure the photocurrent. Now, this is the experimental arrangement used to study the photoelectric effect. Experimental arrangement, the experimental arrangement consists of an evacuated glass tube fitted with a side window debris. Inside this evacuated glass tube, two electrodes, one cathode and another anode, are fitted. Cathode is maintained at negative potential and the anode is maintained at positive potential using a high tension battery, HP battery and the high tension battery. In order to measure the potential difference between cathode and anode, we have connected a voltmeter, and in order to measure the photocurrent, we have connected a microammeter in the circuit. When light of suitable frequency is allowed to fall on the cathode, see cathode male photosensitive material coat ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. Photosensitive material is that material which is sensitive to light. That means as soon as light is incident on that, light of suitable frequency is incident on that metal surface, electron gets ejected out of the cathode. These ejected electrons start moving towards the anode because anode is maintained at positive potential. Electrons being negatively charged are attracted towards the anode. So when electrons start moving towards the anode, they constitute a current called as photocurrent. They constitute a current called as photocurrent. The photocurrent is measured by microammeter and the potential difference between cathode and anode is measured by voltmeter. This is the experimental study of photoelectric effect. You can quote the observations here as well. Observations for the observations na illi kuda baribodu. You can write those observations here, right? Photoelectric emission is an instantaneous process. Below certain minimum frequency of incident light, photoelectric emission does not take place. Above threshold frequency, photocurrent is directly proportional to intensity of incident light. As you increase the intensity of incident light, photocurrent also increases. Micrometers start showing larger and larger reading. As the frequency of incident light is increased, kinetic energy of photoelectrons increases. And if the anode is maintained at negative potential, suppose we change the polarity of the battery. Suppose we now change this polarity. In the sense, we'll now connect or will now maintain cathode at positive potential and will maintain anode at negative potential. See, now anode is maintained at negative potential and cathode is maintained at positive potential. Anode is at negative potential and cathode is maintained at positive potential. Now, if light of suitable frequency is allowed to fall on the cathode, electrons get ejected out. When the electrons start moving towards the anode, see, electrons are negatively charged and the anode is now maintained at negative potential. And when electrons start accelerating towards anode being at negative potential starts repelling the electron because electron is negatively charged, anode is also at negative potential. Because of the kinetic energy possessed by the electron may overcome the force of repulsion exerted by anode and they may still reach anode. If you go on increasing this negative potential applied to the anode, at one particular value of negative potential, electrons will not be able to overcome the force of repulsion exerted by the anode and the electron comes to rest. When electrons comes to rest, we know that photocurrent becomes zero. This particular value of negative potential applied to anode for which photocurrent becomes zero is called as stopping potential. Nodri, yaವಾಗ ನಾವು anode ಗೆ negative potential apply ಮಾಡ್ತೀವೋ at a particular negative potential applied to anode photocurrent becomes zero. Electron anode ಕಡೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗೋದನ್ನ anode repel ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, oppose ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. At one particular negative potential applied to anode, photocurrent becomes zero, and that particular value of negative potential is called as stopping potential. And we can see that stopping potential is directly proportional to the kinetic energy of the electron. More is the kinetic energy of the electron, more should be the negative potential that is to be applied to anode. So we can write half mv square is equals to ev naught. This is the relationship between kinetic energy and stopping potential. This is the relationship between kinetic energy and stopping potential. Half mv square is equals to ev naught. So this is all regarding experimental study of photoelectric effect. Go through that, that is important. Idadmele you will be asked to give Einstein's explanation of photoelectric effect. Einstein's explanation of photoelectric effect. See, it was Heinrich Hertz who first discovered this phenomenon of photoelectric effect, but it was Sir Albert Einstein who explained this phenomenon. So we need to understand what is Einstein's explanation of photoelectric effect. He explains as to what happens when light of suitable frequency is incident on a metal surface and why electron gets ejected out of the metal surface. See, according to Einstein, light consists of tiny elastic particles called photons. Einstein accepts the Max Planck's quantum theory of light. He says light is made up of tiny elastic particles called photons. Each photon is a packet of light energy. Photon antandre enu antandre, photon is a packet of light energy. Packet of light energy. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಏನದಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಒಂದು ಆಪಲ್ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ. ನಾವು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಆಪಲ್ ತಿಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬರ್ತದೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಒಂದು ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಫೋಟಾನ್ ನ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಟ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಆಪಲ್ ಆಸ್ ಅನ್ ಅನಾಲಜಿ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ಫೋಟಾನ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಐನ್ಸ್ಟೀನ್, light consists of tiny elastic particles called photons. Each photon is associated with an energy. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಹತ್ರನೂ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. Energy of each photon is E is equals to h nu. What is energy associated with each photon ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಹತ್ರ E is equals to h nu ಅಷ್ಟು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. H represents Planck's constant and nu is frequency of that radiation, right? So this is energy associated with each photon, and each photon, Einstein says, each photon is capable of ejecting only one electron. One photon ಗೆ metal surface ಒಳಗಿರೋ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ನ ಮಾತ್ರ eject ಮಾಡೋ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. This is Einstein's initial explanation of photoelectric effect. So according to Einstein, light consists of tiny elastic particles called, see, Einstein here accepts particle nature of light to explain photoelectric emission. We know at this point of time light has got real characteristic, real nature. Light under certain conditions behave like particle and certain other conditions behave like a wave. During interaction with matter, light behaves like particle, and during propagation, light behaves like a wave. So during propagation, we can observe certain phenomena such as interference, diffraction, polarization, which can be explained on the basis of wave theory of light. There are phenomena that involves interaction of light with matter, like photoelectric effect, Compton effect. These phenomena can be explained by considering particle nature of light. Anyhow, according to Einstein, light consists of tiny elastic particles Light consists of tiny elastic particles called photons. Light consists of tiny elastic particles called photons. Each photon is associated with an energy given by E is equals to h nu. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಹತ್ರನೂ ಇಷ್ಟು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, and each photon is capable of ejecting. Each photon is capable of ejecting one electron from the metal surface. Each photon is capable of ejecting only one electron from the metal surface. One photon ಗೆ ಒಂದು electron ನ emit ಮಾಡೋ ಅಥವಾ eject ಮಾಡೋ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇರ್ತದೆ. Each photon is capable of ejecting only one electron from the metal surface. See, when light of suitable frequency is allowed to fall on the metal surface, the electrons in the metal surface absorbs the photon. You know that light is made up of tiny elastic particles called photons. The electron in the metal surface absorbs the photon and gets ejected out. What is the mechanism that takes place in this process? What mechanism ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಐನ್ಸ್ಟೈನ್. When light of suitable frequency is incident on the metal surface, when light of suitable frequency is incident on metal surface, the electron in the metal surface absorbs the photon. ಈ ಫ್ರೀ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಏನಿರ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ, ಈ ಫ್ರೀ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಈ ಒಂದು ಫೋಟಾನ್ ನ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ಯಾವಾಗ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೋ, ವಿ ನೋ ದಟ್ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಟ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ. ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಹತ್ರ 10 ಜೌಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಆ 10 ಜೌಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇವಾಗ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಈ ಎನರ್ಜಿನ ಹ್ಯಾಗ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತದ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ದ ಫೋಟಾನ್. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಹತ್ರ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತು. ಈ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಏನದಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಎರಡು ರೀತಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರೆ. ದ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ಡ್ is used by the electron in 2 ways. Suppose metal surface ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ ಲೈಟ್, ಆ ಲೈಟ್ ಒಳಗಿರೋ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ 10 ಜೌಲ್ ಅದೇ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. This is just an example. When this light is incident on the metal surface, electron absorbs this photon. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಹತ್ರ ಇವಾಗ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬಂತು, 10 ಜೌಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬಂತು. ಈ 10 ಜೌಲ್ ನ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಎರಡು ರೀತಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. A part of this 10 joule, say 4 joule, 10 joule ಒಳಗೆ ಒಂದು 4 joule ನ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಇಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. A part of this energy 10 joule ಒಳಗೆ 4 joule ನ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಇಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತದೆ. Remaining 6 joule is used as kinetic energy by the electron. See, there is a conservation of energy in this process, right? So the energy of photon absorbed is used by the electron in 2 ways. One, a part of the energy absorbed is used by the electron to just come out of the metal surface. A part of the energy is used by the electron to just come out of the metal surface. We know this is nothing but work function. Minimum amount of energy required by the electron to just come out of the metal surface is nothing but work function. This is nothing but work function. So, it 10 joule ಒಳಗೆ 4 joule na electron use ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು metal surface ಇಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. Remaining part of the energy, ಇನ್ನು 6 joule ಉಳಿದಿರ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಇದೇನಾಗ್ತದೆ destroy ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ the answer is no. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can only be converted from one form to another form. Light energy here gets converted into work function and the kinetic energy. Remaining part of the energy is used to impart kinetic energy to the electron. Remaining part of energy is used to impart kinetic energy to the electron. Thus, energy of photon E is used by the electron in two ways. A part of the energy is used by the electron to just come out of the metal surface, which is nothing but work function. Remaining part of the energy is used by the electron as kinetic energy. So, energy of the photon E is used by the electron in two ways. A part of the energy is used as work function, and remaining part of energy of the photon is used as kinetic energy. We know that energy of photon is hν. I have told you each photon is associated with an energy E is equals to hν. ಈ hν energy ಎರಡು ರೀತಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಈ hν ಒಳಗೆ hν ನಾಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಇಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, which is nothing but work function, and remaining part of energy is used as kinetic energy. So hν is equals to hν naught plus half mv square. This equation is called as Einstein's photoelectric equation. hν is equals to hν naught plus half mv square. This is called as Einstein's photoelectric equation. This is called Einstein's photoelectric equation. Nodri, energy of photon, incident photon ಏನಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದರ ಎನರ್ಜಿ hν ಇತ್ತು. ಈ hν ಅಷ್ಟು ಎನರ್ಜಿನ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಎರಡು ರೀತಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ, hν ಒಳಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎನರ್ಜಿ hν ನಾಟ್, ಅದನ್ನ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಇಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ವರ್ಕ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇನ್ನು ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಉಳಿದಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಿಷ್ಟು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಕೈನೆಟಿಕ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಕೈನೆಟಿಕ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. hν is equals to hν naught plus half mv square. This is called as Einstein's photoelectric equation. In this equation, h is called as Planck's constant, mu is called h is Planck's constant, mu is called frequency of incident light, mu naught is called as threshold frequency, m is mass of electron, and v is velocity of the electron, right? So this is all regarding Einstein's explanation of photoelectric emission, right? So you just go through these points, and you need to remember these are the most expected and repeated questions in the examination. Exam nage ee reeti questions repeat agave, right? So you just need to go through all these questions, and after this we have to go through the explanation of different laws of photoelectric effect using Einstein's photoelectric equation. Einstein's photoelectric equation use ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು different laws of or different observations of photoelectric emission na explain ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. We know what is Einstein's photoelectric equation. Einstein's photoelectric equation is hν is equals to hν naught plus half mv square. Using this equation, we need to explain the experimental observations of photoelectric effect. We know the different observations of photoelectric effect. photoelectric effect is an instantaneous process. There exists minimum frequency of incident light below which photoelectric emission does not take place. That frequency is threshold frequency. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಐನ್ಸ್ಟೀನ್ಸ್ equation. And again, this is a most repeated question in the examination. So using Einstein's photoelectric equation, you will be asked to explain the experimental observations of photoelectric effect. Experimental observations of photoelectric effect. At least 3 observations of photoelectric effect how to be explained. At least 3 ಆದ್ರೂ explain ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. So in order to explain this, we need to first write what is Einstein's photoelectric equation. We know that Einstein's photoelectric equation is H nu is equals to h nu naught plus half mv square. This is Einstein's photoelectric equation. Well, from this we can write half mv square is equals to kinetic energy of photoelectrons ejected out. Half mv square can be written as h nu minus h nu naught half mv square. H nu naught na LHS ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ half mv square is equals to h nu minus h nu naught ಆಗ್ತದೆ. This implies half mv square is equals to h will be the common factor, mu minus mu naught I. We'll call this as equation number 1. This is equation 1 ಅಂತ ಕರೆದು here we need to explain what is m. M represents mass of electron. V represents velocity of electron. H is Planck's constant. Mu represents frequency of incident light. And the nu naught represents threshold frequency. You must explain these terms: m mass of electron, velocity of electron, Planck's constant, frequency of incident light, and then threshold frequency. So this equation is important to us. Using this Einstein's photoelectric equation, we are going to explain the experimental results of photoelectric effect. See, the first experimental observation of the result of photoelectric effect was photoelectric effect is an instantaneous process. Photoelectric emission is an instantaneous process. I have told you what is meant by instantaneous process. Instantaneous process is that process which takes place suddenly. That means as soon as light is incident on the metal surface, electron gets ejected out. Electron doesn't take certain time after light is incident on the metal surface to get ejected out. Light ಬಿದ್ದು ಒಂದು 15 minutes 20 minutes ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ electron eject ಆಗಲ್ಲ. As soon as photon is incident or light is incident on the metal surface, electron gets ejected out. Einstein explains as to why photoelectric emission is an instantaneous process. Why is this a sudden process? Why electron gets ejected out immediately as soon as light is incident on? According to Einstein, the collision between photon and electron is a perfectly elastic collision. According to Einstein, the collision between photon and an electron, is a perfectly elastic collision. collision. As a result of this, as soon as photon hits the electron, electron gets ejected out. As soon as photon hits the electron gets ejected out. So according to Einstein, collision between photon and electron is a perfectly elastic collision. Thus, photoelectric emission is an is an instantaneous process. Thus, photoelectric emission is an instantaneous process. As soon as photon strikes the electron, collides with the electron gets ejected out. This is because the collision between photon and an electron is considered to be a perfectly elastic collision. So this is the first experimental result that is explained by Einstein. Next, when frequency of incident light is less than threshold frequency, when nu is less than nu naught. See, in this equation, if nu is less than nu naught, then kinetic energy of the photoelectron becomes negative. Correct? Suppose nu is equals to 5 megahertz and nu naught is equals to 7 megahertz are there. Confirmed. And the frequency of incident light is 5 megahertz, threshold frequency is 7 megahertz. When frequency of incident light is less than threshold frequency, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 5, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 7 substitute ಮಾಡಿ, 5 minus 7 is minus 2. Minus 2 into h, minus 2h megahertz ಬಂದಿರ್ತದೆ ಅಕ್ಕರಿಗೆ. ಜೌಲ್ನ express ಮಾಡಬಹುದು further. My point is, this kinetic energy becomes negative when nu becomes less than nu naught. Kinetic energy of photoelectron becomes negative from this equation 1. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ when frequency of incident light is less than threshold frequency, when frequency of incident light is less than threshold frequency, when frequency of incident light is less than threshold frequency, kinetic energy of photoelectrons becomes negative from equation 1. Correct? From equation 1, kinetic energy of photoelectrons become negative when frequency of incident light is less than threshold frequency. Kinetic energy of photoelectron becomes negative, which is impossible. Kinetic energy of photoelectron negative means that electron is not showing any tendency of coming out of the metal surface. When electron doesn't show any tendency of coming out of the metal surface, how can photoelectric emission take place? So in this case, photoelectric emission does not take place. So when frequency of incident light is less than threshold frequency, kinetic energy of photoelectrons become negative from equation 1, which is impossible. Energies cannot be negative. It is impossible. Thus, photoelectric emission does not take place. Photoelectric emission ಆಗದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವಾಗ frequency of incident light threshold frequency ಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತದೋ ಆವಾಗ when frequency of incident light is less than threshold frequency, then kinetic energy of photoelectrons become negative. This means that electron does not show any tendency of coming out of the metal surface. Electron metal surface ಇಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರೋ tendency ಕೂಡ ತೋರಿಸಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ photoelectric emission ಆಗದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. Right? ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಬರ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀವಿ below certain minimum frequency of incident light photoelectric emission does not take place ಅಂತ. ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ when frequency of incident light is less than threshold frequency, Kinetic energy of photoelectrons becomes negative. Electron with kinetic energy negative, which is impossible. So photoelectric emission cannot take place. On the other hand, when frequency of incident light is equal to threshold frequency. Suppose frequency of incident light is equal to threshold frequency when nu is equals to nu naught. When frequency of incident light is equal to threshold frequency. Suppose threshold frequency is 7 megahertz. Frequency of incident light is also 7 megahertz. 7 minus 7 becomes 0, and the kinetic energy of photoelectrons becomes 0 in this case. So when frequency of incident light is equal to threshold frequency, when frequency of incident light is equal to threshold frequency, kinetic energy of photoelectrons become 0. Kinetic energy of photoelectron becomes 0 from equation 1. Equation 1 nodidre, when frequency of incident light becomes equal to threshold frequency, kinetic energy of photoelectron becomes 0. This means kinetic energy of photoelectron 0 agade antandre ಏನು ಅರ್ಥ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ಏನು ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದಲ್ಲ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ, ಆ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಹತ್ರ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಇಂದ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇದೆ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಹತ್ರ. ನಮಗೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ 4 ಜೌಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಕೂಡ ಬರೀ 4 ಜೌಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಫೋಟಾನ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಇಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಹೊರಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಕೈನೆಟಿಕ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ರೈಟ್? when frequency of incident light is equal to threshold frequency, kinetic energy of photoelectron becomes 0 from equation 1. This means electron just comes out of the metal surface. Electron just comes out of the metal surface with 0 kinetic energy. With 0 kinetic energy, and we say photoelectric emission just take place at this point. When frequency of incident light is equal to threshold frequency, electron just gets ejected out of the metal surface, but with 0 kinetic energy. It will not have sufficient energy to move, or it will not have any kinetic energy at all. It will have 0 kinetic energy at that point. The light that is incident on the metal surface has energy which is just sufficient to eject the electron from the metal surface. The light doesn't have enough energy to even impart kinetic energy to the electron. That is not possible in this case. When frequency of incident light is equal to threshold frequency, kinetic energy of the photoelectrons become 0. Kinetic energy of the photoelectrons become 0. This means that electrons get ejected out of the metal surface, but with 0 kinetic energy. We say electron emission is just photoelectric emission is just possible at this point, right? So this is the third explanation or experimental result using Einstein's photoelectric equation. And then you can also explain another one point. When frequency of incident light is greater than threshold frequency. When frequency of incident light is greater than threshold frequency, from equation 1 we can see that when frequency of incident light is greater than threshold frequency 7 megahertz idre, frequency of incident light 9 megahertz ade anta ankolli. 9 minus 7 is plus 2. Andre kinetic energy in this case, kinetic energy of photoelectrons in this case becomes positive. That means photoelectric emission is taking place. So when Kinetic energy, sorry, when frequency of incident light is greater than threshold frequency, when frequency of incident light is greater than threshold frequency, kinetic energy of photoelectrons become positive from equation 1. Thus, photoelectric emission takes place whenever frequency of incident light is greater than threshold frequency. Photoelectric emission takes place, and also you can see when frequency of incident light is greater than threshold frequency, as frequency of incident light is increased, and as mu is increased, look at what happens to the value of kinetic energy. Suppose mu is 9 megahertz and mu naught is 7 megahertz. 9 minus 7 is 2 into h. 2h. Kinetic energy is 2h. Units hage reach 2h units. Suppose frequency of incident light is now increased to 10 megahertz. See, for a given metal surface, threshold frequency remains constant. Threshold frequency for a given metal surface is constant. It is constant. Frequency of incident light now change ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Suppose 10 megahertz ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. 10 minus 7 is 3h units. Kinetic energy becomes 3h units. Frequency of incident light increase ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ 11 megahertz ಇದೆ. 11 minus 7 is 4h units. Andre as frequency of incident light is increased, kinetic energy is also increasing. That was our fourth observation. Above threshold frequency, kinetic energy of photoelectrons is directly proportional to frequency of incident light. See, as frequency of incident light is increased, kinetic energy of photoelectron also goes on increasing. That can be written at this point of time. Illi ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ. As frequency of incident light is increased, kinetic energy of photoelectrons also increases, right? So these are some of the experimental results that you can explain using Einstein's photoelectric equation. ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಈ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ನಾಗೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಓದ್ರಿ. Using Einstein's photoelectric equation, explain the experimental observations of photoelectric effect ಅಂತ ಇದ್ರೆ ಈ Einstein's photoelectric equation ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ experimental results ನ explain ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Photoelectric emission is instantaneous process, mu less than mu naught, mu equal to mu naught, mu greater than mu naught. The experimental results are explained ಮಾಡಿ ಬರೇ give Einstein's explanation of photoelectric effect ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿ. Give Einstein's explanation of photoelectric effect ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ you just write the explanation. According to Einstein, light consists of tiny elastic particles called photons. Energy of photon absorbed by the electron is used in two ways. A part of energy is used by the electron to just come out of metal surface. Remaining part is used as kinetic energy. Up to this equation. Illivarige explain ಮಾಡಿ. Question correct ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ. That is important, right? So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದೆರಡು ಲಾಸ್ ಬರಿಬಹುದು. ಇನ್ನೆರಡು observations explain ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Intensity is photocurrent is directly proportional to intensity of incident light. Einstein ಪ್ರಕಾರ intensity represents number of photons incident on the metal surface per second. More are the number of photons incident on the metal surface per second, more are the electrons ejected out. Correct alla? I have told you each photon is capable of ejecting only one electron from the metal surface. We know that current is charge by time. Charge can be written as n into e by t. More are the number of photons incident on the metal surface, more are the electrons getting ejected out, more are the number of electrons getting ejected out, more is the photocurrent. So we say photocurrent is directly proportional to intensity of incident, right? So Einstein prakara, intensity represents number of photons incident on the metal surface per unit time. 1 second ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು photons incident ಆಗ್ಯಾವ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅದೇ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 1 second ಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ photons incident ಆಗ್ಯಾವ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 1 second ಗೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ photons incident ಆಗ್ಯಾವ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಕಡಿಮೆ photons incident ಆದ್ರೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಎಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತವೆ. ಕಡಿಮೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಎಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಜಾಸ್ತಿ photons incident ಆದ್ರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಎಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತವೆ. ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಎಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ NE/T, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಎಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ photocurrent ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. So this is how you can explain another point. So this is all regarding Einstein's explanation of photoelectric effect, loss of photoelectric. After this, you have to go through the properties of photon or characteristics of photon. This is an important 3-mark question. Mention any 3 properties of photon and filter. You need to explain the properties of photons. See, photons have got various characteristics or properties. We will here quote some of the important and easiest properties of photons. The rest mass of photon is 0. You can never find a photon at rest. Rest mass of a photon is 0, right? And photons are electrically neutral. Photons are electrically neutral. This means photons do not carry any charge. The net charge on the photon is 0. Photons are electrically neutral. Photons travel with speed of light in vacuum. Photons travel with speed of light in vacuum. Vacuum ಒಳಗೆ photons speed 3 × 10⁸ meter per second ಇರ್ತದೆ. And photons are not deflected by electric and magnetic fields. Electric and magnetic fields can deflect only charged particles. Photon being electrically neutral, it is not deflected by electric and magnetic fields. So photons are not deflected by electric and magnetic fields. Photons carry energy. Photons carry energy. Energy of photon is E is equals to h nu. So these are some of the important characteristics or properties of a photon. The rest mass of photon is 0. That means you can never find photon at rest. Photons are electrically neutral. The net charge on photon is 0. Photons travel with speed of light in vacuum. Photons are not deflected by electric and magnetic fields. Photons carry energy. Energy of each photon is E is equals to h nu. Idadmele you will be asked to write what are de Broglie waves or matter waves. De Broglie's theory ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತು ನನಗೆ. So de Broglie wave ಅಥವಾ matter wave ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. See, according to de Broglie, when radiation can exhibit particle characteristic, even particle must be capable of exhibiting wave characteristic. Light is actually a wave, but in explaining photoelectric effect, we have considered light to be a particle called photon. When radiation like light can behave like particle, even particles must be capable of exhibiting wave characteristics. So in this respect, de Broglie says even particles can be associated with wave-like characteristics. And then he defines matter waves. What are matter waves? These are the waves associated with moving particles. The waves associated with moving particles are called are called matter waves. The waves associated with moving particles are called matter waves. De Broglie says a particle or a moving particle like electron, whenever electron is projected towards certain target, it starts behaving like a wave. A moving particle is always associated with wave-like characteristics. Such waves associated with moving particles are called as matter waves, and the wavelength of such matter waves is called as de Broglie wavelength. De Broglie wavelength is given by de Broglie wavelength is given by lambda is equals to h divided by p, that is equals to h divided by m into v, where p is called as momentum of the particle. Momentum of particle. Momentum can be written as mass into velocity. M is mass of the particle. M is mass of particle, and v is velocity of particle. V is velocity of particle. This is the expression for de Broglie wavelength. So de Broglie wavelength is given by lambda is equals to h divided by mv. This is important for 2 marks. Bala sarpi idna 2 marks wala kelare. What is de Broglie wavelength? Or mention an expression for de Broglie wavelength. Lambda is equals to h divided by p. H is Planck's constant. P is momentum of the particle. H is h divided by m into v. Momentum can be written as mass into velocity. Momentum can be written as mass into velocity. So de Broglie wave or matter waves. These are the waves associated with moving particles. De Broglie wavelength is given by lambda is equals to h by p or h by mv. De Broglie wavelength can be expressed in terms of kinetic energy. De Broglie wavelength in terms of kinetic energy. It is possible to explain de Broglie wavelength in terms of kinetic energy of the particles. See, de Broglie waves or matter waves are the waves associated with moving particle. Whenever a particle is moving, it must be possessing kinetic energy. So we need to express the de Broglie wavelength of this particle in terms of its kinetic energy. We know that de Broglie wavelength is given by lambda is equals to h divided by m into v, mass into velocity. We'll call this as equation number 1. We know that kinetic energy of a particle is given by half mv square. This is the formula for kinetic energy. We'll multiply on both sides by m. We'll multiply on both sides by mass of the particle. M into kinetic energy. M into kinetic energy is equals to half into m into m will be m square v square. From this we can write m square v square as equals to 2 ఇక్కడ cross multiply ಮಾಡಿ 2m kinetic energy. 2m kinetic energy. So from this we can write mv is equals to square root of 2m kinetic energy. Square root of 2m kinetic energy. M square v square is 2mk. mv square root of 2mk. Hagadre equation 1 will now become lambda is equals to h divided by m into v. See, m into v can now be expressed as square root of 2mk. This is the expression for de Broglie wavelength in terms of kinetic energy of the particle. Lambda is equals to h divided by square root of 2mk. The same can be expressed in terms of potential as well. Lambda is equals to h divided by root over 2m. K can be written as q into v. Kinetic energy can be written as q into v. Charge into potential. Right? V represents potential. So these are some of the important points which you need to focus from the chapter real nature of radiation and matter. So go through all these concepts. These are the questions which are most repeated in the examination and can also be expected in the examination. So I hope this will be helpful for you, and please go through this. And in the next video, I will be taking up the chapter atoms. Thank you, please.